Do you want to leverage YouTube to increase business engagement? Do you want to know the tips and tricks so you can use your YouTube channel as an effective business tool? If yes, then you've come to the right training. Welcome to the Empowerment Point Global Business Directory and Education Hub. My name is Debbie Small, and I'm the founder and Chief Empowerment Officer. We are the umbrella over leading experts globally, as well as networking groups around the world. If you're looking for a particular expert in any area of business or incredible networking groups to meet even more business owners, you will find them on empowermentpoint.com. If you're dealing with clients and they need expertise that isn't yours, you can find an expert on empowermentpoint.com and collaborate with them. So you are now giving a full service to your clients. Welcome to our global training. And today we have the wonderful Ryan Fowler. Ryan is the chief storyteller at Orion Media Group. He is a seasoned photographer and video creator with a decade of experience running a thriving creative business. His lens doesn't just capture moments, it transforms them into captivating stories. What sets Ryan apart is his unique ability to merge his artistic talent with a deep understanding of digital marketing. This combination empowers his clients to not only receive stunning visual content, but also effectively utilize this to enhance their presence and engagement. Whether it's business events, exhibitions, conferences, or crafting creative collateral for marketing purposes, Ryan's work resonates with authenticity and creativity, providing businesses with a powerful visual narrative. With a decade of experience, a passion for visual storytelling, and a knack for empowering clients in their digital endeavors, Ryan Fowler continues to inspire and elevate the world of photography and videography in the business arena. Today's training is on how to leverage YouTube to increase business engagement. And we can all do with some more help with making our YouTube channels work better for us and our businesses. Today, you'll learn how to create engaging content, optimize your videos for search optimization, discover the transformative potential of small adjustments that can make a monumental difference in expanding your YouTube reach, promote your channel to reach more viewers, and much, much more. So welcome my friend and colleague, Ryan Fowler. Yay!
Thanks, Deb. Much appreciated. Good to see so many familiar faces and a lot of new faces as well, which is great. I'm looking forward to sharing so much with you. I've packed this full of quite a lot of information, and I'm going to try not to overwhelm you too much with everything because there would be a huge amount happening if that was the case. But what I'm really going to focus on today is something that I feel most business owners who are wanting to leverage YouTube, or at least trying to, are missing. And there's some common misconceptions that I want to help remove for you and bring in some strategies, some ways to drive decision-making by reading and understanding data the right way. So who sounds like it would you would value from that? Deb dancing away up in my top corner there. All right. So let me share my screen here. And right, you can all see that okay? Just give me the thumbs up. Excellent. Brilliant. So as Deb said, this is how to leverage YouTube and increase your business engagement and growth. So I will be dropping a few things every now and then to get you typing in the comments and the chats and all those joyful things. So feel free to keep the chat open. I will try to give you a little bit of warning if I can on when to get your typing fingers ready to answer some questions as we go along and throughout the next hour or so. And also feel free to raise any hands if you've got a question towards the end. There is a bit of time for Q&A. And if I make something funny, then drop a laugh emoji as well, because that's always appreciated to know that a joke lands with someone. And also, please keep a notebook handy as well, because there is an activity we're going to do in just a minute that will help you get into the left-right brain space. So I hope you're looking forward to that. All right. So this will be your first question of the afternoon. What is your idea of video marketing as a strategy and how it integrates into your business? Drop those messages in the chat down below, because I'm always curious to see what the answer to this question is and what the perception of video marketing as a strategy in people's minds is. Now, YouTube is a platform. It's not the strategy in itself. Video marketing is the way of actually showcasing what you do. So, Barbara, clients can see what I do. Vital ATM, I'm presuming at the moment, need to integrate and do. Can show what I do better than I can explain. Yep, Jeff, I know that for you. Exposure. It's mission critical. What we do is far easier to convey conversationally. If we keep the content short and snappy, we'll expand our reach. All right, there's quite a few good answers coming through here. Clarify and implement an effective strategy. Reels, videos that show what we do behind the scenes and conversations. Yep, great use for it. Over 170 weekly videos on the Charles Covis show on YouTube. Congratulations, that's a milestone. Well done. Designed to remind people that I exist. Charles, there's going to be a little bit of information coming up, and you're actually one of the people on my screen. There's going to be some information coming up that might help you optimize some of those 170 videos that you've done if you feel like they might be underperforming a bit. Genuine connection rather than rhetoric. Alan, using short videos to highlight what I do and what others get. All right. Thank you all very much for those. Let's jump into here. So where does the opportunity lie in YouTube? And Alan, I don't mean the lie in the one that you catch, by the way. So there's kind of like a really long laundry list, but I've narrowed this down to my personal top 5. And the first is to build a community. So instead of just having an audience, you can build a community of like-minded people that see you as a central point of information. Who would find that valuable in their business if they had a community surrounding them? Yeah, awesome. So then we've got finding new product opportunities. There's a famous quote by Seth Godin. I'm pretty sure that's his name. I'm having a bit of a mind blank on that at the moment. Pretty sure it is. I'm getting a nod, so thank you. Is that you don't find customers for your products, you find products for your customers. Now, in my view, there's no way of finding products for your customers if you don't actually understand them. And if you can integrate with them, be part of their life, whether that be business or personal, and create a meaningful connection, which comes back to community. So it gives you the opportunity to find new products. Then you've got developing evergreen marketing. Who's familiar with the term evergreen? Hopefully quite a lot of you. Okay, there's a few hands that didn't go up. I'll give you a really quick rundown, but evergreen marketing is something you create once and you can leverage over and over, and it will stay out there doing its marketing job for you. That's the long and short of it anyway. So developing evergreen marketing means you can create something once that you can then put out into the world and be able to continue to leverage that over time, build leads, generate business, and use it for a whole variety of different opportunities. You can also leverage the content that you create in more ways. So if you create something once right now, how many times have you reused that? If you've created something now, has it been repurposed, reprogrammed, or done in a completely different way? So usually this one gets very few hands go up, because the myth, I'll say, of creating content is that it has a use by date. But when you can start to create content once and then be able to build that through a content library, that's not a full concept we're going to go through today, but it is an opportunity of this, is you can then pull on that multiple times for years to come. And I'll give you a really quick case study in how well you can repurpose content. I worked with a tour operator for 7 years, and out of that, I think I did a total of about 15 video shoots over 7 years. Now, the purpose of those video shoots was to create content. The continuation of working with them for 7 years was that that bank of content then continually allowed remarketing, recutting, and continual use of that footage over time as different stories, different showcases, different highlight reels. And this is something that you can do not just with YouTube, but with video in general. And the last one, which I usually presume to that a couple of people here are looking for, is to create an additional income stream. Now, really be honest, if you're here to create an additional income stream, stick your hand up for me. Scott, cool. Leanne, you're the name, the places, people that I could see in my group squares. Yes, there is an opportunity to create an additional income stream from YouTube using ad revenue, affiliate links, all those sorts of things. That comes down to implementing the 3 simple principles and the keys to success that I'm going to share with you throughout the next hour or so. And they're 3 fundamentals that I've done in my own business. I've done them in clients' businesses. I do this on my own, kind of like a side hustle of an influencer brand as well. And these 3 principles are the ones that I continually come back to. And if I fall short on something, it's usually because I've fallen short on one of those 3. So here is your first one. And these are in no real particular order, but this one is going to help us get into a left brain, right brain mindset to go into the next section with. And it's creativity. Who likes this background for creativity? Yeah? No? Okay. Some yes, some no. So one of the great opportunities and sometimes downfalls of the current industry is AI. And this was actually generated using Photoshop's generative AI. And you can do it with anything, really. But if you're looking for quick, simple backgrounds of basically unlimited potential, start looking there. That's a really great way to start a process if you're wanting to create backgrounds, images, all sorts of different things. But let's jump into an activity. And yes, I drew that stick figure. So, who has ever drawn a flip book? Yep. Couple of hands. Some people probably unsure of what a flip book is. That's all right. What I'd like you to do, and we're going to do this over the next couple of minutes, is grab your notebook. Just plain notebook with quite a few pages on it. Now, I don't know about you, but usually if I'm writing in a notebook, I'm writing down the middle of the page, not right to the very bottom corner, unless I'm completely brain dumping on something and it has to stay on one page. So this is an activity that we're going to do. It's just going to take a couple of minutes. I want you to take the bottom corner of your notebook and start by drawing a stick figure. And then making that stick figure do something over the next preceding pages. So it could be jumping, it could be running, it could be flipping, it could be whatever you want it to be. It could be an experience from your life. If you caught a really great throw on the footy pitch as a kid or something, whatever you'd like to do. And I'm just going to play a little bit of clown music in the background because it's not your average thinking music. And with that, Draw your stick figures. Keep them simple. It doesn't have to be extravagant. You don't have to be an artist. All you've got to do is draw your stick figures, one on each page, and show and continue. This is something that I've done with so many groups of business owners, from creatives right through to lawyers and doctors, whoever else was in the group. And the reason I keep doing this is because the feedback I get from it is that it's a helpful de-stressor. It's something that will help you get into your right brain and into your creative mode. I also want this to be an exercise that you can do at any point. So if you need to get into a creative mood, take 2 to 5 minutes, simply grab a notebook and start doodling a stick figure doing something funny. Once you've drawn, let's say 12, which we've got about a minute left. Once you've drawn 12, grab the corner of your page and flick through it. Let your stick figure come to life. Let this be seen just by you. You don't have to show me. You don't have to show the camera, but simply flip through the pages and flip through the book and see your little animation brought to life, because that's what this is. It's the simplest form of animation that anybody can do to get into a creative mood or a creative mindset. All right, I'll give you 30 more seconds. And I hope by now that you're able to flick through the corner of your pages. And if you have, and you've got a little smile, then that's definitely doing its job. Leanne, have you flicked through yours by chance? I can see that little smile popping up there. All right. So let's move on. I hope that you're feeling a little bit more right-brained right now, a little bit more creative, because we are going to be bouncing back and forth between left and right brain for the rest of this. All right. This is one of my favorite quotes, that marketing is no longer about the stuff that you make, but about the stories that you tell. Storytelling has been, or is, I should say, the oldest form of communication, whether that be through painting, drawing, verbal, sign language, pointing at a piece of grass and hoping that a lion's not going to jump out of it. Whatever it is, storytelling is a gift that is developable, if that's a word, and if it's not, it is now. It's something you can learn to do, and it's something that provides a huge amount of value in helping people connect with you. The way that we do it through video is through story showing and being able to visually represent the stories that we tell. So let's take a minute and talk about trust. How many of you value trust in your business with your client, staff, team, everybody? All right. How many of you have had trust broken in your business in some way or another? Yes. I think all of us in business have gone through that at one point or another. So Harvard Business Review's 3 core drivers of trust are authenticity, logic, and empathy. And I did do the research on this, and it makes sense how they describe it. But I'd like to give you my definition in how this shows up and plays out when you start to communicate through video. And the first one is authenticity. So how do you show up? Are you showing up as you? Or are you showing up as the facade that you're putting out to the world? Are you putting up walls and being who you think people want you to be? That's number one, because if you're not showing up as you, then people aren't going to connect. You're not going to build the audience, and you're not going to build the community that will help you drive the rest of the opportunity that you can create from YouTube. Next is logic. And logic, to me, relates to, or in trust anyway, relates to someone actually seeing you as being able to deliver on the small promises that you make. And trust, in my view, is a continued commitment of delivering on the value that you promise you're going to deliver on, whether those be small or big steps. Then we move to logic. Empathy. How many of you have trusted somebody more when you have been able to relate to them on a personal level? Yeah. So if empathy relates to shared experience, the ability to connect with somebody, the ability to resonate, then being able to show up authentically and share stories through your video content, your communication, what you share and what you create is going to build trust in a digital space on a scalable level. So who would like to see more of that happen? More trust built in a digital space. Okay, great. If you don't, probably in the wrong place. So let's talk a little bit about metrics. We're going to bounce back to the left brain here. If you've got a YouTube channel already, these are probably two things that you have been focusing on. If you're focusing on views and subscribers, you're focusing on the wrong thing. Who's heard of the term vanity metrics? Yeah. On social media, likes, loves, reactions, driving Facebook, and how many people have gone, yes, I've put a post out there. It's got 25 likes. It's my mum, my dad, brother, and the close friends who have scrolled past and thought, oh, that's right. Toby's done a post. I'll give that a like, and then kept scrolling. That is the equivalent to YouTube's views and subscribers. Now, don't get me wrong. There is value and ways to use views and subscribers. And I'm going to give you a couple of live examples on that very shortly. As we go to what to focus on, these are some incredibly valuable bits of data that you can use to drive decision-making in your video content. Now, the great thing about YouTube is these are so easy to access. These are retention rates, click-through rates, and traffic sources. Now, I will do a little bit of a live demo coming up in a few minutes. I'll run through what these are each first, though. Just a quick show of hands, who has heard of retention rate, click-through rate, and traffic sources before? And the people that have heard of them, who actually knows what they mean and how to interpret them? Okay, far fewer hands, which is usually the case. And there's a reason for it. It's because they're tucked away and they are spoken about in fewer circles than views and subscribers have been traditionally. And they're also nowhere near as exciting. If you've got views and subscribers and likes on your YouTube videos, that gives you a dopamine hit. Great. People are responding. People like it. People love this. I've got, 500, 1,000, 10,000 views on that video. That's awesome. But if you've got a retention rate of 2%, it's down the toilet. It means that people are clicking through and then not finding value in what you're actually sharing with them. So let's take a quick look at these. So your retention rate. If you can keep, and I'll give you a bit of a benchmark here. If you can keep your retention rate above 52% for about 75% of your video, you're doing well. That's a pretty good benchmark. Anything higher than that, hey, kudos to you. That is great. If you're getting more results like the one on the right, the negative performance retention curve, then there's really something that needs to happen, because people have lost interest in what you're willing to share, in what you're wanting to share instantly. And to some who look at this information and data first, this can really hurt. This can be like a stab through the chest going, well, I put so much time and effort in, what's the point? This is where you need to be able to adapt and use this data as learnings of what will work and what doesn't in your content. So who's actually looked at the retention data of your YouTube videos in the past? Okay, Burke, can I get you to keep yourself unmuted for a second and just share with me what you got from looking at that data?
Well, I had that chart on the right there, and what I did was I realized the intro to my presentation sucked. So I got rid of the steep down part and started where it came back to life there. And it was the initial slide. I actually did an A/B split test where I played some music, and then the second one was the sound of a Porsche taking off. And the Porsche kept people listening and going on to the next slide, but the music didn't. Go figure. But
So
just A/B split testing is an interesting thing to try.
It certainly is. Once you tried the Porsche sound on there, how much longer did they actually stick around for?
God, I'd have to look again, but it improved dramatically, because once they got past the intro and they got into the actual meat of the presentation, they stuck with it. I was just trying to be cute with the intro with the music, and it just, was too, or I guess ordinary people just blew it off. I don't know.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much for sharing that. I'd like to just share something here that is an absolute retention killer. And Burke, you've just shared it. By the way, we did not plan this. I have never met Burke before in my life, but this is a perfect example of a retention killer. If you go to YouTube and start watching a video and it comes up with a logo sting or a long-winded intro, that is going to instantly drop your results. The way to flip this script, and look, there's nothing wrong if you've been doing that. That's fine. You can leave it as is. But let's just take responsibility for what we look at with the data, because the data doesn't lie. Well, can if you change it, but in most cases, the data won't lie. And taking responsibility for that means you need to make a change. So I haven't got this as a slide because I wanted to verbally share this with you. And I hope that you're going to take this down as a note. If your retention is sitting in the negative performance, it means that people have lost interest. The way to change that is to adapt your hook. What is going to catch people's interest enough that they will go, this really needs to be in my life. I really need to watch this video. What can you say about your particular video title and topic that's going to engage them a lot? So let's just by raise of hands, who's got a channel here that is potentially looking like a negative performance right now? Anyone waving a hand at me? Okay, Alan, do you mind if I dive in with you for a second?
Yep.
Okay. Could you give me the idea of what your usual video intro starts as?
Well, a lot of the videos haven't had music or anything else starting. They've just gone into something that catches the attention. So
Okay.
the opening of it. I haven't done much on YouTube. That's why it hasn't been doing for some time. I had one video which hit 912,000 views, but all my other ones have been only in the few 100,000 or less. They're much less.
Nice. So in terms of your ones that aren't performing, what can you see in the very beginning of it that needs to change? What have you been doing so far?
Oh, they're all pretty bland when I start into it. I didn't like the really long music that some people were using, because by the time it started, I was ready to flip off. But having something there is always a good idea.
Sure. Could you just give me an idea of a video title, a video that you've done, that you've uploaded?
Oh, well, they've all been more practical, how to read people, that sort of thing. It's been, and I know the titles are where the being a bit more inventive with those is a good idea.
Yeah. So this has brought up a really interesting point. If you've got a title for your video, and thank you, Alan, for that. You've got a title for your video that says how to read people, as this example. The very beginning of that video wouldn't be, "Hi, I'm Alan Stevens. I'm a profiler, and I'm doing a very brief and dreadful version of your introduction, I'm aware, but I'm a profiler and I've been in the industry for 35 years. And today I'm going to share with you how to read people's body language."
No, it's been more into, I've stayed away from that. If somebody introduces me on a video, well, that's one thing, but that usually doesn't come up. There's something to catch their attention to start with.
Yeah. So the hook would change from something like that, which is a very generalized version, not specific to you, or not sort of targeted towards you, to switching to, if you're feeling like you're not getting the right messages from people, and you need to, and you want to be able to read more of their body language to understand what they're thinking, then this is the video you need to watch. That's your first 15-second hook. And it changes the perspective of, okay, this is long-winded, to, okay, that sounds exactly like what I need to do right now, because that's exactly what I want to achieve out of this video. Which drives home a deeper point. If you're going to create a video, usually people will say, create the title and thumbnail first. Get the attention. That's great. My perspective on this is, set the intention for your video first. What do you actually want the person who's going to be watching this video to get from it? What do you want to help them understand, help them learn from? And then you can create your title, your thumbnail, and then dive into the hook and the scripting of it. And that's the very beginning process of formulating a video that will connect and resonate with a person. You can then start to build an audience around. Conveniently, that brings me on to my next point of click-through rate. And you could have the best video in the world, but if you have a dreadful title and thumbnail, the click-through rate is going to plummet. Now, 4.3% is sitting higher, just higher than the above average. This is a channel that I've started working with, well, as the results say, in the past 90 days, which has seen a very positive increase in these numbers. And the reason for that is because what I'm sharing with you now is what we've implemented. So your click-through rates are based on how many impressions you're getting through YouTube and how many people are actually resonating enough with your title, with your thumbnail, to click into that video. So once you've got your intention for a video, then that next step is formulating the title and thumbnail. These need to be eye-catching. They need to be within your brand. And there are a heap of strategies around that. If I went into that right now, it would be so left brain that it would just completely take us out of the flow that we're in right now. But the click-through rate is based on those people getting impressions on them, clicking through to actually watch your video. Then it goes into your retention rate. So if you can increase your click-through rate from, let's just say an average is about 3.3, 3.5 across all of YouTube as a general standard. The really, really high performance is at about the 8 to 10%. The mid performance is in that 4 to 6. And then anything under that kind of anything under 3% really needs some work done on it. And if you've got, and this is a great strategy you can use, especially if you've got, can't remember who it was that said before, but if you've got over 170 videos on YouTube and you've got a impressions click-through rate of like 2% to 3%, you go back, change those thumbnails, change those titles, actually put some additional time and energy into creating those, because the more views you get from this click-through rate means the more people that are engaging with you and the more ability you have to leverage the opportunities that can be created. So this brings us through to our last one. And I've done these in a reverse order. So traffic sources are actually, let me just ask this first. How many of you have seen the in-depth breakdown of traffic sources within YouTube before? No? How many people are looking at this going, what the hell is that? And how do I find it? It's a really, really interesting piece of information and an interesting piece of data. And the reason for this is because you can tell how much traffic is being driven from YouTube and how the YouTube algorithm is working for you, or if you're getting search traffic, which is a slow burn process, but it is a strategy as part of it, or if you're driving everything from external. Now, this is one of my channels. It was designed as a search-based channel. It was really focused on kind of customer-centric, how-to education, photography-based content. But you can see here an average click-through rate of 8.5%, which is producing really well. And this channel earns an income. So it has become that income source, not just from YouTube ad revenue, though. This also generates product sales, affiliate sales, sponsorships, and ad revenue. So creating a revenue stream from YouTube is not just about ad revenue. And I would really like if you could dismiss that notion from your mind, because there's a lot of surrounding opportunities that you can create to build your business and build your brand from this platform. So I will show you where this is, because I'm sure a lot of you are going, okay, I've got a channel. I really want to do this. Can I see where my traffic sources are coming from? All right. So let's just look at analytics inside of the channel. And I'll go, let's just say the last 90 days. So inside of your channel, everybody see this screen okay? Yep, great. So I haven't posted on this channel for some time, by the way. That's why some of these numbers are a little bit lower, but that's all right. Let's go. So we're in analytics. Come over to audience. You can see when your viewers are actually on YouTube. So that gives you times to schedule actually making videos live for. If you are looking at a channel with, I believe it's less than 300 to 500 subscribers, you might not see this information. But if you do see this information, please use it and leverage it to know when to share your content. So this is based on GMT plus 10, so that would be Brisbane time. So Sunday at 3 a.m., really random time, but this channel's got a lot of viewers from overseas. So the US, at least overseas from me. So the US, Canada, the UK, and a lot of Northern Hemisphere countries. If you've got a lot of viewership from those, you'll probably see fairly similar numbers to this. I've got another channel that actually highlights around this time, being somewhere between 12 and 8 p.m. Because it is more so Australian-based viewers. So as I scroll down, you can see geography. So United States, UK, Australia, Canada. So let's just go into see more. And this is where you can start to see all the data. I'm not going to run through every single thing in here. But just while we're here, if you're looking for opportunities for affiliate programs, things like Amazon Associates, which is one of the easiest ones to get into. If you'd like to become an Amazon Associate, just simply Google Amazon Associates, whatever country you're wanting to become one for. This could be the US, the UK, Australia, Canada, and pretty much everyone. I'd recommend taking like the top 5 or 6 of here if you've got a healthy channel and becoming an affiliate in each one. If you talk about a product, link it, generate sales from each individual country. It's a great opportunity to look at where your audience is coming from. So let's take a look over to traffic source. Now, this is the screenshot that I pulled earlier and in the last couple of hours since I took the screenshot. The click-through rate's gone up, so that's cool. But let's take a look at YouTube search for a minute, because this channel was designed to be a YouTube search-based platform. And here, there's a whole bunch of squiggly lines, but inside of here is all of the actual search terms that people are looking and finding my content on. These are the search terms that are generating views for this channel. Now, my recommendation here is the use of this information means that you can then apply this to video tags. So if you are, let's just say in this case, ranking for Canon Speedlight 430EX2, and it's slightly lower on the list, but your video is specific to that topic, which a few of mine are, put that as one of the tags in your tag section of an individual video and write it into the SEO or into the description of your video so that you can start to leverage more SEO, because as we know, YouTube is a search platform. It is the second largest search engine in the world, right behind its parent. And the parent still links to these videos. So that's in YouTube search. If I go external, this is a perfect example. Google search has generated thousands of views for this channel because it's keyworded based on the search terms that's been continually optimized over time. Now, this is a small amount of work over time that generates long-term returns if you're wanting to turn this into a revenue stream. All right, so that's very left brain. I hope that that's kind of helped a little bit in understanding some of the key metrics and what you can make decisions on. But let's just go back to the metrics not to focus on for a minute, because I did say that these play an important role. These metrics and subscriber count is good if you're trying to get monetized. Once you hit 1,000 subscribers, really anything over that isn't a big particular goal unless you want one of the YouTube play buttons, the silver or gold or platinum. Now, if you get to a million subscribers, you get a platinum play button. That's more of a processional nice to have than the goal of what your channel needs to be. Because the goal of the channel would be to provide value, correct? If anyone disagrees, please raise a hand and let me know. But if your goal is to just build subscribers and views, it means you're not in it for the reason of actually building community and being able to continue that community as a growth point in your business and use that as a leverage point. So that's subscribers, but views, they do play an important role. So Alan, you mentioned you've got a video, and I'm just going to mention this here, is you've got like 100,000 views or something on there?
No, 912,000.
912,000. Can I ask what that video is about?
Yeah, it was a very poorly put together with somebody else who was reading out questions to me. He went home, then I filmed the responses and blended it all together.
Okay.
And that was about
But what was it about?
About reading people.
Reading people.
The
Okay.
reason for it, etc., how you could use it.
Okay, cool. So that video obviously got a huge amount of views, and there would be a reason for that. Did you then create content in a similar vein around that?
In other videos, but they didn't take off at all.
Okay. So there's a thing called the hub and spoke model. So, sorry, Alan, thank you. I won't ask you any more direct questions, but I might use that as an example if that's all right. So the hub and spoke model is you've got one big video right in the middle. That's your wheel hub. That is a video that other videos then drive traffic to. So it continues to generate views. So in the case of the 1 million video or 1 million views video, you could then start to create spokes, which it sounds like you did. There might have just needed to be more linkage between each one. So there's a lot of opportunity in YouTube to create more linkage. And that comes through as either cards, which you can overlay throughout the video, or end screen moments, which can be overlaid at the end of the video as you upload it into YouTube. Those two strategies start to then create this hub and spoke and show YouTube that there's actually a linkage between these surrounding videos that you're creating to this hub video right in the middle. So it might be worth having another look at that if it's something of interest for you, Alan.
I'll do that.
All right. Now, there is one more thing that I would like to mention on traffic sources. And I briefly touched on this a minute ago, but this is all about the YouTube algorithm. This answer always gets a yes, but I'm going to ask it anyway. How many of you have ever felt like an algorithm is against you on any social platform? Yeah. Okay. So YouTube, so algorithms aren't against you. They are simply programmed to push content that resonates with audiences and connect with the right audience. And the way to tell if within YouTube the algorithm is working for you or it's pushing other people's content, not yours, is by the little feature down or little option down here called browse features. And that is on the homepage of YouTube. And you know, when you're watching a YouTube video and you've got that panel of or strip of videos down the side, that's browse features. So if YouTube likes your video, it gets great engagement with people and it gets great retention and positive interaction, or all the things that are kind of markers for the algorithm. If it's seeing that it's getting those, your browse features as a traffic source will shoot up. If it's not, it means that you're not engaging the right way with people. You're not creating the hook, you're not creating the click-through, and you're not delivering on the value that you promise at the beginning of the video or in the title. And this is going to lead us into the second key, which is consistency. I've heard this word said so many times, And I've done it in so many different ways that I then get bored of being consistent, because consistency can sometimes feel boring. Who would agree with that? There's something to be said that consistency is probably one of the biggest failing points, or I won't say failing, I'll say learning points for any YouTube channel. Because there's kind of waves of excitement. There's the new thing, there's the shiny object syndrome, there's something more important to do over there, and I'm going to get to that in just a minute. But if you can create consistency within your content creation, there's a lot to be said about how well this will resonate with your audience. It builds your community, helps you build trust in the digital space, and helps you leverage the YouTube platform as a business growth tool. So what's going to actually stop you from being consistent? There's a few things. These are some of my favorites. I've actually received all of these in messages or conversations with people. I've changed a couple of words here and there, but that deadline was not achievable. So for people who set themselves a publishing schedule of weekly and might only get to once a month, or usually ending up dropping back to once every 6 months, the deadline not being achievable is something that will hold them back, because it's something that they don't feel is as important as it should be. And the work that needs to go into it to build a channel to a monetized stage, a traditional monetized stage, is a lot. But if you do it the way that you then get to connect with an audience in the right way, ad revenue doesn't matter, because you're driving leads, you're driving traffic in so many other ways. There's also the favorite one of, I have this, that, and the other thing to do that is so much more important. How many of you have said that one before? I know I have. I will take responsibility for myself in that one. There's also, I'm not good at editing, so why would I do it? That's cool. You don't have to be great at editing. There's a lot of videos out there that have got millions of views that have resonated with people in the right way. And the reason for that is because it delivers on value, not on how good your editing technique is. So if you're not a video editor, more power to you, because you've got an opportunity that you can either learn and grow with that, or you can put something together that really delivers on value. Just please, side note, please make sure your audio is good quality. That is just one of the most important things. If it's not, then I'd probably say re-record the video rather than say what the hell and publish it. The next lot is you get a visit from the itty bitty shitty committee. That is one of my favorite sayings. And when I was growing up, my mum used to say that one to me all the time, so it's kind of stuck. But how many of you have had a visit from the itty bitty shitty committee? Yep, that little voice, the committee that sits on your shoulder and says, "You're not good enough. Don't do that. You're bad. That looks awful. That's horrible." Yes, I do voices, so it's always entertaining in my head. The itty bitty shitty committee in my brain is hilarious, but they have held me back from a lot of things. So if you get a visit from the itty bitty shitty committee and you are feeling imposter syndrome, like you're not good enough, then there's a few things you can do. And imposter syndrome is something that I personally suffer from a lot of. I've been in creative industries for coming up to a decade now as a full-time creative. And it's still something that gets me a lot. Like, even coming on to do this, it's still got me. Like, who am I to be sharing this? Who am I to create this? But there's ways to move through that, and there's ways that you can take that step forward. One of my favorite sayings is, courage is taking action in the face of fear. And fear is often, I won't speak for everybody, but it's often what causes our imposter syndrome. We're not good enough to do this. Who am I to listen to this? Or who am I to create this? Why would anybody want to listen to me? I'm not good enough for that. Okay. Thanks for commenting. I choose not to have that thought. I am good enough to do this. There's a reason that I'm in business. Why am I doing this? What's your purpose? What's your intention for creating? It comes back to that very first point of video creation. What is your intention? If you've got an intention just to get views, then don't share it, because your heart's not in it. It's not authentic to you. But if you've got an intention behind it and you know that you can deliver value on what you're sharing, and the people watching it are going to feel inspired, feel imagined, love what they're going to hear from you, then hit publish. Hit record if it's stopping you from doing that. Share the value that you know you're going to share, and something that's going to make an impact on somebody else, because that's what's going to build your community. That's what's going to help you build your views, your subscribers, the income that comes from YouTube, and the value to your business that this can have. And this one is my absolute favorite. I don't like how I look on camera. For guys, you may have experienced this. You might not have. I have filmed with my mother for years, and this one, this is the biggest one that has held us back from filming anything sometimes, because she was not happy with how she looked on camera. So, if you've got questions around this, feel free to ask, because I've been through just about every emotion and managed just about every level of I don't like how I look on camera. And Mum's okay with sharing that, because she's embarrassed me from stage enough, so I get to return the favor. So I don't like how I look on camera. There's a lot of internal stuff that happens with that. There's a lot of internal conversation. And if you're feeling that, it's okay. You don't have to comment about that now. You're always welcome to email or have a conversation with me later, if you like, just with some strategies on how we've been able to move through this and kind of work through it, because it is a very, very real thing. And there's fear and fear of judgment and so many things that happen, that it stops us so much. And just while I'm on this track, who's ever felt like you wouldn't want to publish something because you're afraid of what the internet's going to tell you? No? Well, there's a few. Yep. Okay. So Deb, you're celebrating that one. Can I ask you a couple of questions around that?
Go for it. I don't know if celebrating is the word, but go for it.
Well, I'll say resonating rather than celebrating.
Yes.
But you're resonating with that. And let me just see. Have you had people come back and comment to you about videos and content and things that you've put out to the interwebs?
In a positive or negative way, or just in
Negative.
general, you're asking? No.
Okay.
No, I think it's more our internal dialogue that does that to us rather than external. And I also, I loved everything that you said as well. I thought it was absolutely wonderful. And I think that two things. One is that, you know, there's a saying that I heard that is, if you have something to share with somebody that you know is going to help them, how selfish is it of you not to share it with them?
Mm.
Which is a fantastic saying that keeps me moving forward as well.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that I think if you're sharing things to give value to people, I think, you know, that makes a positive difference as well.
So thank you for that. I would like to bring you back to one thing, and I'm going to ask you this question, but to every person on this call and every person that watches this recording, I would like you to think of your own answer to this. Is, Deb, if you haven't had any negative feedback from people about things you've published, where does the fear sit?
That's a really good question.
Because there hasn't been now that I'm not going to go into personal development, I'm not going to dive really deep into that. It's okay. But just for you and for the people watching and the people on this call right now, where does that fear sit if you've not had negative connotations come back? Because it's still holding you back for some reason. And there's probably something to explore there that's stopping you from sharing the value that you know you're ready to share. Isn't
it funny how we're good at helping other people with it? Like I say to people, you know, trial and error, go for it, you know. And that people love authenticity as well. So if you're saying a few things or making a mistake, it's okay. People love the authenticity. But it's funny when, yeah, as Gerald just said, seek discomfort. But it's really funny that when you're actually telling people and then you're doing it yourself, you're like, I too, different things that I do, I may run by other people as well, just to see their thoughts before putting something out if I'm feeling a bit weird. Yeah, it's an interesting concept.
Yes, it is. Now I would like to share my absolute favorite time that I got trolled. And it wasn't too bad, but it stung a little bit at first, and now I can seriously laugh about it. Who's seen Harry Potter, the movies?
Yep.
Yep. I imagine that most people have. Yep. So who knows the character Draco Malfoy? Yep. Cool. Harry's arch nemesis for those of you that don't. But when a few years ago when I was publishing a huge amount of stuff, I had really like long, slick back, light blonde hair, and I was doing all these videos and all these sorts of things. And I get this comment, and it says, you know, I really liked your video, but you seriously look like Draco Malfoy, dude. I'm like, really don't want to be Draco. I'd rather be Harry. But that's not going to happen because I don't have a scar or glasses. So you know what? I'll take that. I'll take that as a compliment. And it stung that little bit at first, but then it, like, as I kind of looked at it, I thought, that's got nothing to do with me. Like, that's just somebody's comment that, you know, they're either trying to have a bit of fun or they've got some kind of, you know, insecurity with themselves that they're using me as their mirror. That's fine. So now I just take it in my stride. And this brings us to our third key to succeed, which is a commitment to yourself. And this commitment to yourself is, yes, you want to grow your business. Yes, you want to grow your channel. Yes, you want to build your community and get all of the value points that I mentioned at the very top of this conversation. But the commitment to yourself means you're actually going to do it when the excuses come up and the justifications happen. I didn't do it because, you know, I had a deadline on this thing that needed to be done. Okay, cool. If you've got a deadline, make something short. If you've got a deadline coming up in a month's time, batch 4 videos so you can focus time on actually creating and keeping this consistency. committing to keeping your creativity and thinking outside the box and thinking outside of the normal ideas of how the people in your industry share their information through YouTube and through the conversations that they're trying to start. If they're being inauthentic, you be authentic. If they're only sharing interviews of themselves, share a piece to camera, share something directly to a point of communication. If someone in your industry that you see is getting massive views, but they're not a direct competitor, ask them to collaborate. Join the power of your YouTube channels. And that's one of the massive benefits about becoming part of the broader YouTube community and understanding the audience that you're in and the niche that you're in, is you know who the people in your community that you want to build, but you also know the creators in that community, because that's what we can all be, right? We can all be creators. And if you're going to be publishing and sharing to build a community and build this opportunity for growth in your own business and communication, then ask other creators who you compliment and they compliment you to connect and share and share to each other's audiences. So you then leverage more of the YouTube platform than what you can do yourself. And I'm actually going to show you something that I did in the communication side of YouTube and a quick little case study, because I've got a couple of minutes that I'm just going to share this. So can everybody see this screen? Yep, great. So this is a playlist that I created, and it's a whole series of videos. Now, pre-COVID and for a good number of years, as I've been running this YouTube channel, I've actually been a reseller for this particular brand of photography accessories and products and all those sorts of things. And I thought, you know what? There's so many resellers of this product, but I've got a voice and I've got a skill set that I can create and present on YouTube as a platform. So I thought, well, how can I differentiate myself from my competitors and start to use video as a leverage scalable communication tool? And by the numbers on these videos, you can see that it was definitely scaled. The reason for this is selling these products, I'd constantly keep getting questions back. Now, because we're in business, I'm pretty sure that every single one of us would be getting questions from our customers and or clients, right? So instead of going back and answering the same question the same way every time, I would simply send back a video. And then as more questions came in around a particular product, I would then create a video that I could send to people. This got to a stage where I then built these videos into the communication system and the automation side of my business. So I know what some of you do on here. I don't know what all of you do, but just think on, if you're communicating with people on a regular basis, you've got onboarding processes, you've got products that get sold, all those sorts of things. How can you start to use video as a communicative tool to resonate with those people? And the way that I used these was from the time of order to the time of delivery was a maximum of 3 business days. It was a very fast turnaround in terms of product shipping. What I did was 24 hours after that order came through, completely automated by exact product kind of thing, was an email would go out with a link to that specific video for that product, showing people how to, or as the title says, how and when to use that particular product. So instead of somebody putting an order in, waiting anxiously for it, and then when they get it going, great, now I've got this product I've just spent a few $100s on, how the hell do I use it? They actually knew how to do it. They had a step-by-step tutorial on how to use it, and they could get the package, go out that afternoon and photograph using that product because they knew how to use it. So instead of anxiety, they had excitement. And that shifted the whole mindset and the whole conversation. Using this methodology and this strategy, my lifetime value of those particular customers tripled. And this particular strategy, using the right communication and showing the value of the products and the care in service, took product sales from 5% of my business to 25% in a matter of 3 months. So there is a lot of power in leveraging video, YouTube, and this applies to all social platforms that you're communicating with people using video on, to leverage that as a communication tool. So last thing I want to share is a couple of action steps. I'm going to be finished in 2 minutes. And then we can get into a Q&A because I know there's a few questions. So the first action step for you, and I'm guessing you're here because you've got a channel that is either not working well for you or you want to scale it up more. First step is to go through and review what it is you have already got, what's worked with high view counts, what retention rates are you getting, and if you're getting on the negative performance, how can you increase that and start to introduce a hook, deliver better on the value, deliver hook throughout the video. And I'm not going to go through an entire scripting strategy right now. That's something that I reserve for our one-to-one coaching sessions. Is what can you do to help increase your retention rate throughout the entire process of people watching your video? So what click-through rates are you getting? What if they're low, what can you do to improve them? Do you need to upgrade your thumbnails? Do you need to change your titles to create more intrigue or mystery around them so people get curious and start to click? Because if you're looking at your video title and going, my God, I wouldn't even watch that, then something's really wrong. If you read your own video title and go, ooh, that sounds interesting, yeah, I'd like to watch that, then it's probably a good sign that it's something of interest because you're part of your own community that you're building. So if you're not curious about your own content, then it's pretty much guaranteed that your audience won't be curious about your content either. So second step is, once you've taken a really good, honest look at the data and the metrics that you've got, then go and actually make the changes, put in the time to make the adaptations and take note of where you are now, when you make the changes, and how that takes effect over time. So those are your 2 simple action steps for now. Deb has got a link she's going to drop in the chat for me if you would like to book a creative clarity call just to understand a bit more about where you're at, or if you'd like to look at the option of working with me on a more one-to-one strategic level of what can we do to improve your channel and get personalized recommendations and insights, then feel free to book that call. It'll be 20 minutes and we can have a conversation to see what we can do to help you. All right, let's jump into some questions.
Fantastic, Ryan. Thank you for that. Just before we jump into questions, I just want to say, if you're watching the replay of this, then the link you will see underneath is the link to Ryan's profile on empowermentpoint.com. So on his profile, you'll be able to see more about him, and his calendar link will be in there as well. And you can also send him an email. So Ryan Fowler on empowermentpoint.com. So let's go into questions now. Fantastic. Let's put gallery. So everyone with questions, thanks, Alan. Much appreciated. Thanks for being here.
Thanks,
as well.
Alan. Thank you for volunteering.
That's it. That's it. So, guys, with your questions, can you please put your hand up I'll put that link in again. Can you please put your hand up to ask your questions? Because I know there's quite a few questions and we will go through all your questions. So who would like to go first? I know that is Scott still here. Okay, so I'll just go through Scott's questions that he did have. Let me just go up. Won't be a moment.
I am here, fear not.
Oh, you are fantastic. Sorry, Scott, I didn't say. Okay, you had a couple of questions, one regarding repurpose.io and a second question. Go for it.
Yeah, I'm finding repurpose.io complete garbage. I was suspecting it would be AI driven and would pluck content out, but anyone can carve up 55 seconds and the next 55 seconds and the next one. So I would like your view on that, because it's kind of frustrating me right now.
Sure. So I've not personally used repurpose.io. AI is at an incredible stage at the moment. But in terms of the video content tools, it's not fully gotten to the level that I feel like it needs to for like true repurposing. Yeah. So, Scott, do you mind if I just ask you a couple of questions around how your workflow is at the moment?
Sure.
So are you doing your post-production yourself, or have you got someone in a team doing it?
No, me.
You, okay.
Yeah.
So just quickly, thank you,
one
Toby.
One of mine is live and streamed.
Live and streamed, okay.
Yeah.
So live and streamed, that's pretty good as it is. It's, straight up. You've got the content there, it's done. Are you doing that live streamed through YouTube or another platform?
YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook.
YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook.
So using StreamYard, yeah.
Okay, cool. So you're probably working with the files of that, I imagine. Like you've actually got the files of that after your live stream. Cool.
Yeah.
So my recommendation would be, your content better than anyone else, unless you've got an editor that works with you. So I'd recommend just taking a short amount of time and going, how much content do I need to pull from this? Where might some of the highlights be as you're actually doing your live stream? So if in StreamYard, you can make a marker point and go, okay, well, that sounded really interesting. Just drop a marker there or make a note, 31 minutes, 22 seconds.
Yeah, so you do your own file logging. Yeah, cool.
Yeah. So it's essentially the option of, okay, well, I know that I've done this. That bit was really good. I'm just going to make a note there, get the file, skip straight to that on a timeline, chop, export, done. Yeah. So for your longer form content, that's
pretty much what I was doing at 4:30 this morning.
Yeah. And you get pretty efficient at it once you keep going through that workflow.
Yeah, cool.
Yep.
Okay.
Does that help?
Yeah, I think I'll ditch repurpose because it's just more trouble than it's worth at the moment.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I've already got a scheduling app, so I don't know what else it offers. So
fair enough. Was there your
I did ask another question about whether there's a measurement around. Let me read my question so I don't stuff it up. Is there a ratio of subscribers to views by subscribers as a percentage and a subscriber rate that's optimal? So subscriber viewer rate that's optimal kind of thing. So of my subscribers, how many of them are viewing my videos on X basis?
Sure. So there's not really an optimal amount because it does depend on the community that you're building.
Sure.
If you're worried about how many people are coming back versus not coming back, I'd say a good ratio on average would be 10% of your subscriber base, because subscribers do change over time. So if you can get a good 10% rate, that would be nice. The view count is more important than the subscriber count once you hit the monetization threshold.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So the view count is what's going to get you the CPM, the cost per milli, which is the YouTube ad revenue per 1,000 views.
Yep. Okay, cool. Thank you.
Fantastic.
Welcome.
Thanks, Scott. Gerald.
Well, first of all, thank you so much, Ryan. I'm a virgin at all this YouTube, so I have some very basic questions.
Fire away.
How long should the video be? Let me explain that. I've been having a look at, and I've done a couple, 60, 90 seconds, put that out. But I'm getting the feeling here, create a long video and chop it up. So
let me ask you, if you don't mind, Gerald, what type of content are you creating?
it's all about sales.
All about sales. Okay. So there's a couple of ways you can do it. One is you can do the long form content and then chop it up. So that is one option. The other option is creating a series of shorter form, point by point tip based pieces of content. So do you mind if I ask what your business is?
Yeah, the business is, you mean the name of it or the actual what I
you do?
Okay. It's training people in sales presentations, moving away, and I'm passionate about this, moving away from the old style of selling, handling objections, closing, cold calling, and basing it on one's social skills. So it makes it more that people can believe that they can be sales to sell their value.
Okay, awesome. So let me give you a really quick strategy that you could probably implement tomorrow.
I'm all ears like a bag of wheat.
Okay. Haven't heard that one before. That's good. So first off, start by understanding who you would like to talk to and start to dive into the community within YouTube by doing market research around who the creators are, what they're sharing, and how they're doing it. Once you're starting to find who the creators are, then start to look at how many or what are the highest view count videos, what value are they delivering, and how long do they run for? Because if you've got, there's a couple of options that you can then do. So a couple of paths you can go down. And I recommend split testing both. One is draft or duplicate. So like a race car that kind of slots in behind, catches the wind and drafts and then overtakes. You can draft by essentially copying style and format of someone else who's in the creator space within that community. The other option is if there's a huge amount of people doing 10 to 15 minute videos on sales that are covering 2 to 3 topics within one video, let's just say an average of 12 minutes, you do a series of videos with one individual topic on each video that goes for 5 minutes and come in with just as good information, but in a shorter time frame that people can then start to binge watch videos of yours rather than just watch one video of somebody else's. So for yours, I'd recommend probably a minimum 5 minutes, as anything under 5, I feel like it would be not, I feel like people would look at it and go, what am I going to learn in 4 minutes that I couldn't learn in 12? But if they've got a 5 minute video that's specific to a topic of value, then they'll go, okay, that sounds like me, and I can learn that in 6 minutes rather than 12. Great. Thanks, Scott.
So just so I've got it cemented in my own mind, because I'm a slow learner, is do the research, and in 5 minutes, just do one topic, or in 5 minutes, okay. So rather than 12 with 3 topics, it's 5 minutes with 1 topic.
Yes, but really dive deep into it. Really deliver on the value of it.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'll mute myself.
All right. Anybody else? Steve, hello.
Hi, mate. Great session. Love
Thank
it.
We're not bumping into each other at a shopping center this time.
That was weird. We should have taken a selfie.
That was a random day.
It was a random day. One question. Have you got any hacks on SEO? Because I think to the previous question, a lot of, as you said, this is the second biggest search engine in the world. And SEO, if you have the right keywords within the headline and the content, you get a higher traction rate or a higher search value. You got any hacks on that?
Yes, I do. So I didn't have the full time to dive into that today, so I'm going to give you a couple of quick fire resources that you can use. So if you're just starting in YouTube, if you've got a YouTube account, whatever it is, download the free Chrome browser extension called vidIQ. It's incredibly helpful. Create a free account. There's paid premium versions, but you really don't need those unless you're generating an income from ad revenue. Use the free version. It gives you support in choosing the right tags, the right understanding titles. It gives you some AI generated title recommendations based on what you write. It gives you SEO scores as you upload a YouTube video. It's really good. It's really great value. It's probably the #1 tool in YouTube is vidIQ. You've also got things like Answer the Public, if you want to do question research for what people are searching for, things like Google Trends, and more specifically to your point of keywords as they are, as keywords, would be Google's keyword search tool. If you really want to go like super advanced, you can do SEMrush and all those sorts of things, but there's obviously costs involved with those. Does that help answer your question?
Unmute. Yep. Thank you. Perfect.
Perfect. Thank you.
Just Scott asked the question about video editing. Are you still using Descript, or have you got I know you were using it, you're probably not anymore.
Yeah, so I use Descript for transcription mainly. I don't really do too much video editing in there because I've got other programs like Final Cut, Premiere Pro. I'm pretty sure a free version is Premiere Rush. A lot more advanced editing software that is completely free is called Blackmagic Design, which is DaVinci Resolve. But yeah, usually for video post-production, I'm using Final Cut or Premiere Pro, something like that.
Cool. Thanks, man.
You're welcome. Jonathan.
Thank you. Thank you very much for a fascinating presentation. I don't have a YouTube channel. I'm wondering if I should have. I'm very comfortable making Loom messages, and I never edit them. If I don't like them, I just junk them and do them again, and I'd be happy to do that on YouTube as well. But one of my great skills, if I can say this somewhat without trying to sound too bold, is storytelling. And I think that if I could do that on YouTube, that could actually raise people's attentions to some of the products that I'm trying to actually raise money for. Do you think that would be a good idea?
Absolutely. If you're wanting to get a message out there, and you do it in the right way, then by all means, there's a lot of great opportunity to build, donations for. charities and all that sort of stuff. Like my partner, I work with her on some of her socials, and her TikTok's at like 62,000 followers or something. And she works for a not-for-profit that generates donations from.
This is to raise hundreds of millions of dollars
Yeah.
for companies so that they can actually get their products to the world. And they are amazing products.
Okay. So YouTube would be a good way of sharing, or a platform to share the stories. I feel like raising hundreds of millions would be more of a personalized communication method, rather than kind of a broad spectrum base. But you can definitely use the YouTube content as a communication support tool to kind of support the work that you're doing. If that makes sense?
Yeah. That was the shape of my mind. You know, not that it would solve all my problems, but it would be a support tool. Perfectly said. Thank you.
Yeah. So similar to how I used those videos as a communication tool to add value, that's what essentially same concept as what you would do.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Fantastic. Any more questions, guys?
I would like to add one more thing to Gerald's question. So once you start generating videos and putting them out there and as part of your communication with people, you're building value, you're delivering on value, but that's when you start to drop the mention of lead magnets throughout the video. So you'd say, let's just say it's a topic of sales, how to ask situational based questions, educating on that in 5 minutes. You would partway through, say 2 to 3 minutes, probably 3 minutes out of a 5-minute video, say, look, if you're feeling stuck on what types of situation questions to ask and you want a full list, click on the link in the description down below. That'll take you to a PDF download of all my favorite situational questions to ask. And then you can start to use that as a lead generating tool. You're welcome.
Burke, did you have a question as well? No, just a comment that
I can't think of any. I've had uploaded a video while you're talking about it. I think realizing that I forgot to upload this complex video I made about why have a business plan. And it's one of those ones that's gone over very well when I presented it live. And it was one of those things, I built it in Keynote, did all the cool transitions, save it out, and then it comes back as a QuickTime video. See, the cool thing about making these kind of videos is you can make a slideshow, and then each slide's got the separate recorded stuff on it, separate transitions, separate everything. So if you want to update the video in the future, you just come back, change out the slide, save it out to video, upload it to YouTube, and you've got a new video. So I did some originally where I would do the whole slideshow and record the whole thing, and then you have to re-record the whole thing versus just doing it a slide at a time, which is an interesting way of achieving it. I think PowerPoint does the same thing. I just think PowerPoint's not as elegant as QuickTime. I mean, as Keynote, but it's an interesting way of making a video without. That's how I could do that Porsche engine thing. It was just the first slide. I just changed that slide, exported it, uploaded it, bada boom. So I don't know if you mentioned that at all yet, but just a thought.
Work smarter, not harder.
100%. Thanks for that, Burke. Any other
Of
questions?
course, I get carried away with the transitions, the things spinning around and doing this and that, but it does make it interesting. You want to make it visually interesting, because some people write these videos or these pitch decks that have just a big blob of text, and it's just like a visual assault that you just don't want to read.
Yeah,
so just a comment on that.
It has to be interesting for your viewer.
It's got to be pretty too,
Absolutely. It's got to look good.
Any other questions, guys? No? Well, Ryan, thank you so much for an amazing session. Thanks, Jonathan. Thanks, Ryan, for an amazing session. It was just absolutely brilliant. A lot of golden nuggets, a lot of takeaways, and a lot of things we can do straight away in our business, which is really important. So, guys, we did put a link in the chat for any of you who want to make a time with Ryan. If you want to find Ryan and you want more information about him and you are watching the replay as well, you can go on to empowermentpoint.com put Ryan Fowler or just Ryan into the search bar and you will find him very quickly. You can check out his profile. You can check out his social media links. You can make a time with him and you can send him an email as well. So again, thank you so much, Ryan. And everyone, have a beautiful rest of your week. Thanks, guys.
Pleasure. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure.